Welcome to Africa Rainbow Family Podcast, amplifying the voices of LGBTIQ plus people from Africa and the global majority, including refugees, migrants, and people seeking asylum. Each month, we share powerful stories, lived experiences, and conversations that inspire change, build community, and celebrate resilience. You are listening to the Africa Rainbow Family Podcast, where voices matter and stories create impact.
Hi, everyone. Today is another beautiful episode of our podcast. I remain your host. My name is Alexandra, and I have with me in the house one of our very own. He's a human rights lawyer and a refugee from Nigeria. He has a master's degree in international human rights law from the University of Bradford. And he previously served as a refugee advocacy lead at African Rainbow Family. And now he's currently refugee advocacy and campaigns manager. Allow me welcome our very own from African Rainbow Family, Adeniyi Balogun.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. It's nice to have you with us today. We are looking forward to learning from you and also getting an idea from you on how to go about the justice system. I mean, any education you can pass on to us would really be very nice today. So I'm just going to go straight away by asking you to probably just give us, I mean, who is Adeni? Like, what's there to know about you? What do you do outside of African Rainbow Family or before you got into African Rainbow Family?
Yeah, well, Adini is a very passionate human being. Outside of work, I play sports like golf, and I also try as much as possible to keep myself healthy. I like to read books, and most of all, I'm a very conservative but passionate person. So, and I like to, sort of help people.
So is there any book in particular you're reading right now? Because I'm also reading books right now. So is there anything you want to tip in for us?
Well, for me right now, the book I'm reading is a land law book, so it's just getting to know more about it's the legal aspect of real estate in the UK. So
Oh, okay.
um, at the moment, it's a land law kind of book. So
So
I found
it's
it.
nothing romantic or nothing.
So, yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So it says here that you have, I mean, you're definitely a human rights lawyer
Yeah.
and you have, lots of background and knowledge on human rights law. What was that specific click that made you think, okay, let me dedicate my legal expertise specifically for LGBTIQ people of Africa and global majority communities?
Yeah. For me, the click moment was when I had people from the community whom I'm very sure
Mm,
were, belong to the community, were refused. They were disbelieved.
yeah.
And that for me sort of it woke something in me
Okay.
to, sort of like begin to help people, navigate the complex system. Because at the end of the day, the Home Office is not, well, they don't care about who you are. They just
Yeah.
want to tick the boxes.
Yeah.
And that sort of, for me, I realized that just being who you are is not enough. You also need some sort of advocacy, especially understanding your sexuality, identity, and being able to express the trauma that you have gone through. So that motivated me to dedicate my expertise to the community.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Speaking on advocacy, how does being a lawyer change the way you approach advocacy? Does it make you more frustrated because I mean, you know the law? I mean, or does it give you like an optimistic belief or around the law?
Yeah, I think law has helped my advocacy in the sense that it has made my advocacy sort of strategic and
Okay.
in-depth. When the Home Office creates like a policy or the Secretary of State creates a policy, because I'm a lawyer, I'm able to understand the legal necessities around it and
Yeah.
the legal impracticalities. And what I
Mm.
mean is that there are some things that are not practicable. The Home Office may, want to smuggle it into their policy, but they are not in reality something that can be achieved. My knowledge of law guides my advocacy, and that sort of helps me challenge, especially with respect to decision making around even when I want to advise service users or siblings.
Yeah.
It helps me to, know what to say and what not to say. At the same time, it helps me understand how the Home Office is not able to apply the law correctly. So that sort of opens up the loopholes. I can see where the Home Office is wrong, and I'm able to, support our service users or our siblings, in that light.
I mean, speaking of supporting the service users with your knowledge, do you feel it's been very helpful and impactful on the service users?
Yes, yes, especially when it comes to giving them, some sort of confidence.
Yeah,
As a lawyer, you are not expected to give your clients assurances. If you get
true.
what I mean, you're not
Yeah.
supposed to assure your clients, especially that this is definitely going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
because I understand the law,
Yeah.
I'm able to sort of not tell them directly that they will be granted or they have a good chance, but to
Yeah.
sort of sort of give them some motivation and tell
Mm.
them, you know, even if it is as little as say, don't worry about it, you just keep doing your thing and all that. So that's helped me with the way I relate with our siblings.
I mean, it's more like encouraging them or like not to give
Yes,
up. I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
yeah. African Rainbow Family is known for its expert by experience grassroots approach. How has working within the specific community changed your perspective on what justice actually looks like for your siblings?
We are not just an expert by experience. Our model is more tailored to expert by lived experience, which is a
Okay.
little bit more streamlined.
Mm-hmm.
The model, it has taught me that it is not only about, winning or being granted, if you get what I mean. It's also about dignity, safety,
Yeah.
and a sense of belonging, community, you
Mm-hmm.
understand, and
Yeah.
the spirit of pride.
Yeah.
So for me, the model that we practice has been very, very helpful because it then gives our community a voice that can actually have effect on our day-to-day living or the practice of advocacy.
I think early this year, African Rainbow Family launched Access to Justice. Can you give the community or the siblings or the service users, the allies, everyone, just tell us as like what is like the day-to-day activity about, or just tell us more about Access to Justice?
The Access to Justice initiative is more or less like an answer to their questions.
Okay.
Most people, come to us and they tell us they don't understand their rights.
Mm,
They don't know how to prepare for the Home Office interviews. They don't know how to gather their evidence, or they don't know how to challenge Home Office refusals or even appeal decisions.
yeah.
And the access to justice is like an intervention to all of that. And it helps us to keep them going in terms of ensuring that they are not alone in the process. We
Yeah.
are able to support
Mm,
even beyond the day-to-day support that we give, the community support that we give. The Access to Justice initiative is more practical, emotional, and legal support or immigration support that we provide, which is it's an offshoot of our model, which is more expert by lived experience.
Okay, so I'm going to ask now, being in access to justice, are you a solicitor or are you a lawyer or an advisor? Which is it?
Yeah, the Access to Justice initiative itself is an immigration advice facility. Our team, as it currently stands, comprises of people from different walks of life. We have barristers and solicitors,
Okay.
barristers and people who have been trained to give immigration advice. Currently, we are registered with the IAA level 1 support, which is the basic level.
Yeah.
We are looking at moving higher beyond this, the level 1 level, because that is like the minimum.
Yeah.
So it's still a growing initiative. We are looking at in the future, it will be a proper immigration advice organization that will be able to go up to giving, challenging the Home Office in terms of
Okay.
um, judicial review, appeals, and we can have like an in-house barrister and solicitor who will be, working from day to day. So that's our dream.
I mean, that sounds very lovely. I'll be looking forward to either being a
Yeah,
team member or to looking forward to see what the
hopefully we'll
future
be able
holds.
to support with closing the gap. The legal age
Yeah.
system is in shambles.
Yeah. Let's understand this better. Do they, I mean, we know that the siblings we support, they don't
Yeah.
work. It's just the stipends they get from the Home Office. So are they supposed to, or are they all to pay for this immigration advice?
The advice that we give are largely free, especially to those who do not have any means of income.
Yeah.
So if you're on Section 95 support, then you
Mm.
are entitled to free advice and support through the Access to Justice initiative. We also operate very subsidized rate
Okay.
for those who belong to the LGBTIQ plus community
Yeah.
and are still seeking asylum, because we understand that it's very difficult, even if you have a job, to
Mm-hmm.
be able to be those things at the same time. So we offer very subsidized rates,
Mm.
which you won't find in a modern law firm. So that sort of is part of our, how do I put it, objective to sort of relieve people who are seeking asylum of their stress or the trauma that they have
Yeah.
through.
I'm still asking on access to justice. So I want to know, is it just for African Rainbow family siblings or is it open
No,
to everyone?
it's open to everyone who is LGBTIQ plus and has fear of persecution in their own country,
Yeah.
as a result of their belonging to that particular social group, which is the LGBTIQ plus community.
Yeah.
It's open to everyone. You don't have to be registered with the African Rainbow family. It's like bread and butter. You understand?
Yeah.
Uh, it's difficult for you to get the complete support
Yeah.
if you also don't come through the African Rainbow family.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
speaking about legal aid, I mean, we all know the legal aid system right now is it's really very amazing. That's the word I'm going to use.
Yeah.
So, how is your department bridging the gap of LGBTIQ people seeking asylum who can't find or afford a solicitor?
Well, what we do is we are able to, provide to the level that we can provide free advice, and we try to signpost to legal aid, even
Mm,
though the legal aid system is in shambles.
yeah.
We still have some trusted legal aid firms that are able to take up some cases,
Mm,
and we support with we review cases and then decide what is best for our clients, and we also have to prepare with evidence. We work very closely with our colleagues in the African Rainbow family
yeah.
in terms of the support that as clients, which is mostly they are also their service users would require. We also try to advocate for improved access to legal aid
Yeah.
and build partnerships with legal providers within the United Kingdom.
Okay. You had mentioned that you also speak to your colleagues in African Rainbow Family. So
Yes.
just to clarify, is access to justice and African Rainbow Family, are they under the same umbrella or separate umbrellas?
The Access to Justice Initiative is an initiative of the African Rainbow Family.
Okay.
It's a separate entity in the sense that the advice that we provide
Mm,
is outside of, we are blinded from the main support that we provide. And that is because we want to be compliant with the GDPR.
mm,
And so that's why it's sort of like different. So there's no access to information. We don't share information, basically.
okay.
Uh, and that's because of GDPR.
Okay. So moving on, initially when we talked about what
Mm,
clicked for you and why you decided to support or
yeah,
help people with your
yeah.
human rights law, I want to know, like, how do you help siblings in terms of proving their sexuality to the Home Office?
Mm,
Like, what's the way,
yeah,
what's the guidance, or what's the, like, how do you navigate having this discussion?
yeah. Yeah, in terms of proving sexuality, I think I mentioned the other time that the model that we use is lived experience based.
Okay.
So we focus on credibility through lived experience rather than stereotypes. We, work with as in our service users closely, and we're able to ourselves observe them. From there, we, support them through that the experience, the community. It's difficult for people to continue to affiliate or associate with us, if they are not original. And, we also, because we practice the lived experience based advocacy, we understand those who are more engaged and those who do not, who are, not very interested. So that helps us to sort of understand how to help each person. So
Mm,
the level of support that we give to one person may not be the same that we would give to another.
yeah.
Not because we we are trying to be partial, but
Yeah.
because through the lived experience and how they've engaged with us, we
Mm,
are able to provide, support. And for example, we also help with documenting personal narratives.
okay.
If someone comes to us and they tell us about their story, we all come from different backgrounds,
Yeah.
and we're able to test their story comparatively with their country of origin and all that. You
Okay.
understand? And community involvement is also very key. So that's how we support improving sexuality.
So is there like a particular period of time, or is it like once they come in through the door, you help out, or is there a particular period of time you watch to know
Yeah,
these people?
yeah. For example, to be qualified for a support letter, you need to have joined the African for a period of 6 months.
Okay.
And that does not mean that you are automatically qualified.
Hmm.
You must have, engaged, like I said, you must have engaged with the the organization, the community. So it's not we we take our time
Yeah.
to understand those that we support.
Okay. So I'm gonna move on to the new rule, the 30-month rule. I mean, it's literally been a limbo these days for, I believe, for our service users and for anyone in the asylum system at large. So, moving from 5 years grants to now 30 months, it's quite not something anybody wants to hear
Mm.
about. How do you think it's affecting the mental health and integration of people that you support or that African Rainbow family support at large?
Yeah, the temporary status creates some sort of instability
Mm,
in the lives of refugees, basically. So people struggle to integrate because they are not sure. For example, if I live if I were to live in Manchester
Yeah.
and the rent is relatively not very much in Manchester, but because I've been granted like a temporary status, I don't know what will happen next. I may not want to move to London.
True. Yeah.
You understand? Or
Mm.
I may not want to move to Scotland
Mm.
because I don't even know what will happen to me in the next 13 months. I don't know. So
True.
that kind of staggered status or temporary status it creates some sort of insecurity in the lives of those who are supposed to give some sort of clear way pathway to settlement.
Yeah.
So it helps is people struggle to integrate, they struggle to access stable employment or even plan their lives.
Mm.
Some, don't know what to do next because
Yeah.
they're not sure what will come after.
Is African Rainbow Family creating like a counseling section or an
Yeah,
avenue to reach out for
yeah,
siblings?
we have like a mental health counseling that we provide. It's always been there even before the rules, and
Okay.
we sort of are also looking at advancing more,
Okay.
uh, speaking more with because this is a new rule,
Yeah.
so we are looking at tailor-made mental health facility for our services that's fine. Those who require our support, and we're looking at supporting. We keep supporting the best way we can. But hopefully, with advocacy, we are able to come back to the drawing table.
Okay. That's lovely. I'm going to be looking at policy and reality. You spend a lot of time influencing decision makers. When you sit
Mm.
across from policymakers, what is the one thing about LGBTIQ people seeking asylum that you find yourself constantly having to debunk?
One thing I want to believe most people in the Home Office or in the government do not really understand is that the lifestyle that people come from, the background that we've come from,
Mm.
the our lifestyle, even when we arrive in a place of safety, is trauma informed. If you get what I mean, is not culturally competent with what is already available here. So
Mm.
what I always want the government or the Home Office to know is that cultures are different, and people
Yeah.
have come from places where they couldn't express themselves. And what you find in decisions
Yeah.
is that most decisions are not competent, culturally competent.
Mm.
Especially they don't look at how people have survived a life of trauma
Yeah.
for many, many years.
Mm.
So they just want you to get here and fly like a bird. You get what I mean? But that's not how people have been raised. So the
Yeah.
Home Office needs to be more culturally competent in their decision making.
I mean, speaking about the home office, so can we say that the home office or the staffs in the home office that speak to people seeking asylum, can we say that they don't have the accurate training to approach people seeking asylum, or what do you think can be done better?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
Mm.
Um, there are various reasons. One of them is also that they have like a target, a quota system,
Okay.
where they want to refuse as many as possible because they want to reduce net migration and all that.
Mm.
So that sort of influences decision making. And that is more like an order from above kind of thing,
Yeah.
as against training case workers and all that. But training is also something, especially that decision makers are not very independent of the guidelines and targets that they've been given.
Mm.
So no matter how trained you are, if you've been told to reduce your grants to the barest minimum, you will
Yeah.
have to make allowance for that. So for me, I want to believe that lack of training, adequate training,
Mm.
especially with regards to SOGI-based claims, um, is a big problem.
Okay. So I'm just gonna move over to, I mean, as much as we have some negative aspects, I believe there's also a
Mm,
very whole large of positive aspects. So
yeah.
just probably like just share like, a good news for us, like something that went from a no to a yes, like so far
Mm,
since working in African Rainbow Family.
yeah. Well, we've got lots of that happening.
Mm,
For example, when people were refused. Okay, for example, I told you earlier that for us to be able to write a support letter, you need to have, we will have supported you for 6 months,
mm,
and you would have been engaged, in a lot of activities.
yeah.
But, let's say, for example, someone joins us 2 months ago
Mm,
and they were refused. And by the time they go through the appeals process and we write them the support letter, sometimes they don't even get to court. They just tell them that they've been granted.
okay. Okay.
So that's one very good aspect where no's would usually turn to a yes. And we often find that when we intervene, especially with regards to additional evidence that we provide.
Okay. So this support letter, what does it entail? Because it seemed to be like a very beautiful written letter to the court. So what does it entail?
Yeah. So the support letter is very robust in terms of the details
Mm,
of our engagement with the service user.
yeah.
Um, because we are a very credible organization, we try as much as possible to throw our integrity into the letter, and we say it as it is, and we also let the Home Office know the risk that people face if they are returned
Mm.
to their home countries and all that. It's a lot of evidence that we put into our support letter that makes it very potent.
So has there ever been a time when the support letter is given and a sibling is being sent back to their country? Has there ever
Well,
been
I'm not.
a
I wouldn't say I don't know about being sent back to their country because
yeah,
I personally I don't subscribe to people being sent back to their country because they will face persecution.
yeah.
But we've had instances where people are still refused, despite that we've written them a support letter.
Mm,
Usually, the Home Office or the tribunal we say that they've engaged us for a self-serving purpose or
okay.
just to bolster their asylum claim. So, which is likely true, but for us to write a support letter, we know that that particular person has not done that because we take our integrity very, very at very high esteem, and we won't write a support letter for someone that we are not sure of.
Yeah,
So, which is something that makes it different.
that's very lovely. We'll give a round of applause for African Rainbow Family and all the staffs and the work you're doing so far. Speaking about the future of advocacy, say for instance, you have like a magic wand. What is the one thing that you would want to change with the line with the Home Office policy? What is the one thing you would want to do for the community?
If I had a magic wand,
Yeah,
mm, if I had a magic wand, I don't think I would want people to go through the whole process.
yeah,
You understand?
yeah,
It's a very traumatic process. But because the Home Office also wants to justify its reasons for keeping people away,
mm,
or the Secretary of State has the statutory duty to, safeguard the borders. They also want to be sure.
yeah,
But if you ask me, I would say people should not be made to go through the very, very, I would call it insensitive process of
yeah,
having to relay personal, deeply traumatic experience.
mm,
Mm, yeah, if you ask me. And another thing that I want to see is where a world where people can actually advocate for themselves without fear.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, in African Igbo family, what we advice is self-advocacy. And African Rainbow itself is a child of self-advocacy.
Yeah.
When Aderoke Apata started African Rainbow Family, she did it to, sort of advocate for herself and our friends and those who could not help themselves.
Yeah.
So we started that way, and that's one thing that we always advise, our siblings, always stand for your rights.
Yeah.
Stand up. I won't want to say if you get what I mean this time. Yeah,
Oh, thank you very much for that. So in line of call to action
yeah,
for our listeners or our siblings, our service users and the
yeah,
community who wants to support the campaigns you lead at African Rainbow Family, what is the
yeah.
most impactful thing that they can do right now?
Do you mean siblings or third parties or?
I mean, it could be our siblings, third parties, the community at large.
Yeah, one thing I would say is that supporting our petitions is one thing that we look forward to. Another thing is amplifying campaigns and you know working closely with your MPs. For example, your MPs are there for a reason, so working very closely with MPs and amplifying campaigns, joining us at Pride events, and also volunteering is another very good way to support us and sharing accurate information in terms of the policies and all that, being distributing safe information, and with the way the social media is now, comments on Facebook and all that, a lot of people are being put at harm's way for fake news, if you get what I mean. So yeah, I'll say those are ways that people can support in the advocacy drive.
Okay. I mean, over the months since being in African Rainbow Family, the one thing I have noticed is sometimes when we have to say sign petitions, appearing in videos, or even attending to do rallies, some of the siblings have often, wondered if when they join these activities, is it going to affect or disturb their case with the Home Office or the tribunal?
Yeah, one thing I always say is that try as much as possible to advocate for yourself. I wouldn't say which one is safer because people have different backgrounds that they've come from.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
If not that, the Home Office tries to look for visible evidence,
Mm,
which, if you ask me, doesn't have necessarily have to be some sort of proof.
mm,
But the Home Office, in its own guidance, I believe that for you to be able to qualify,
yeah.
you should be seen at Pride events and all that.
Mm,
So one thing I would say is that people should personally assess the risk.
okay.
Yeah. Because even though you find sanctuary at the end of the day, you still have families
Yeah.
and you still have people that can support you even within your neighborhood. So try as much as possible to advocate for yourself,
Yeah.
be self-aware,
Mm,
and also because there's a lot of privacy with a lot of data breach in the world nowadays.
yeah.
Try as much as possible to you know limit what you put in the public,
Yeah.
but not how you express yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's lovely. It's been a very amazing 30 minutes speaking to you and also hearing your inputs in the justice system and African Rainbow family at large. Is there anything you would want to advise the siblings, the community, anyone listening? Is there any take you want to give out there for people to hold on to?
Mm, I would say keep the spirit of solidarity up. Don't give up. there is hope when we, fight together.
Yeah.
So keep the fire burning.
Keep the candle lights on, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for being in this podcast with me today. I really
Thank
appreciate the
you.
presence and I appreciate the time you took out to be here. It's really very lovely to always hear from you and, ask your input on matters about justice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we wish you a very lovely afternoon. And to everyone who tuned in to listen, thank you very much. I remain your host, Alexandra, and you all have a beautiful day. Bye bye.
Thank you for listening to the African Rainbow Family Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share and subscribe it and follow us to stay connected with voices from Africa and the global majority. To learn more about our work and get involved, visit African Rainbow Family website. Until next time, stay empowered, stay connected, and remember, you are not alone.